Hello, David with David O Lessons here. Today, I'm going to look at the DW3000 two-legged hi-hat stand that I bought recently for my studio. So to begin with, I needed a two-legged stand versus a three-legged stand because I have quite a small space here. So I thought the two-legged stand would help me navigate when I have to get back here in this small space. So there's a couple issues with two-legged stands. Obviously, they're not going to be as stable as a three-legged stand. But one of the things that this hi-hat has is little spikes on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. And the way that you would adjust them is with this drum key. You would just move them down, so you can probably see that. So you definitely want to utilize these spikes for stability reasons. So you just want to make sure that those are, in the ground, and if you have the ability to do that with carpeting. If you don't have the ability to do that, that's okay as well. What you need to do is make sure that this little thing here, this little guy, is all the way in, because this foot pedal folds up all the way for transporting reasons. We want to make sure it's all the way in, because sometimes it does slip out, and just tighten the heck out of it. So that was just one of the things you have to deal with. That was the first hack that really worked for me. The second hack is that it has this pedal tension adjustment on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. So here's a close-up of this DW3000 spring-loaded tension mechanism. So it comes with 5 different preset settings. One being that's going to be the tightest tension, where the spring is the tightest, and 5 is going to be the loosest. And the way that you adjust it is you take a drum key and you loosen it, and then you can raise it or lower it. What I've found is that, let's see if we can get you a little better angle here. What I found is that even at the lowest setting, the pedal is just too taut. It's too tight for me. So what I had to do was just remove the whole mechanism, and that actually lowers it to maybe like a level 6. If I just take this whole screw off using the drum key, see how it just lowered it? And now that's the tension that I like for my hi-hat cymbals. I took them off for now just so we wouldn't have to hear them rattle, but I know that the weight of the cymbals kind of comes into play with how much tension you want, but generally speaking, for me, I think this really worked out well. The looser the setting is better, and there's no deleterious effects to play with the pedal like this. In terms of the stability, this is a DW5000 3-leg. Now look, a 2-leg is never going to be as stable as a 3-legged, but let me just show you the difference of doing making this like an 1/8 note groove. So it's not terrible versus this one. Just a little bit more stable. But I don't know, honestly, there's not a ton of difference. It's just enough to notice a subtle difference. Yeah. You can visually see how this one wobbles a little bit more. One interesting thing about this hi-hat stand is that there does seem to be a slight tilt to it once you set it up. And I don't know if that's by design to help with the stability issues, but I don't think it affects the playability. I just wanted to point that out. So here's a view of the hi-hat stand next to my double kick drum pedal. And I decided to move the legs, rotate the legs a little bit to create more extra space, but honestly I didn't even have to do that. It was plenty of space without it. But I was just kind of curious with moving the legs in terms of how that would affect the stability. And it does seem to be pretty much as stable as before. I'll play it for you a little bit. So yeah, no issues there. I guess the only issue was that once I moved the stand, I needed to tighten those two bolts once again. Once I did that, hi-hat was really stable again. And yeah, I think it's been a good fit for my studio space here. What does this mean?
This means stop.
Oh, okay. My director's giving me the stop. So if you like any of this content, subscribe and like it, and tell your friends, tell your family. All right. Thank you very much.